If you want to learn about energy and energy for all, here is an expert that can tell us about it. Stay tuned for this one.
How many locations they got? Just the one?
Carroll House has got 2 locations. We're talking about our sponsors here, everybody, but yeah, Carroll House, 2 locations because you like nice things. In your little castle, we give them that shout out every show. But maybe you got a nice house with nice furniture, but you've got some nice solar on top of it too. So we're going to talk about that. Thanks, Kirk, for sticking around. Kirk and I go back a long time.
Too long.
Early, mid-90s. I was at Circuit City in 95. When did you start there?
About the same time. I think I got transferred from Illinois, and then either I got kicked out or they wanted me over at Crestwood. I'm not exactly sure which one yet.
Well, you were one of the top TV guys in the company. I know
that's true. Back when big screens were a thing.
Yeah, big screens were kind of the way to go. Well, give me a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of decisions to be made. What's some of the biggest mistakes? You talked about people going with companies that may not be in the pricing, get a couple bids. A lot of people say that, but what are some of the other mistakes people make when they're buying solar?
Probably one of the biggest mistakes is that they don't look at possibly what they're going to be doing later on, right? So they're looking at current usage, but they didn't think about that, hey, you know what, we're going to be putting in a jacuzzi or putting in a pool, which draws a lot of energy. That's something that's, down the road, maybe a year from now. So when they design their system, you can always add to it, but there's additional costs and it's a headache, right? So I would probably say it's one of the biggest things is not planning for that additional energy use. Electric cars, things along that nature. Just make sure that you're kind of looking at it and building a system that's going to be, how long you're going to be at that home, right? So there's a lot of factors. And the great thing about what we try to do is we ask those questions. So if you didn't think about it, we try to help you think about those things. And, I think probably one of the things that we do a little bit differently is that, we're an EPC, again, so that means that we're responsible.
Yeah, explain EPC again so everybody understands.
Yeah, again, so we're basically somebody that does electrical procurement and construction. So we do it all. So we can sell it. We do the installation. We have an electrical license, master electrical license to do that. We do all the engineering in-house, all the permitting. So we are kind of a full-on solar company and not just selling the product, right? So the good thing about that is when you go through an EPC, that if we were to misrepresent, can't pass the buck. So if a sales organization says, that sales guy said XYZ to that person, and they call that sales organization, they're like, well, it's technically not theirs anymore because when you go sign that contract at closing, it's our name on it. So if they go through an EPC as a sales organization, they kind of try to wash their hands of it. With us, there is no washing hands. The buck stops and stops with us. So we're very careful and we're very transparent. So what we do a lot of times is even when a salesperson goes ahead and closes the deal, and even if they sign it, we'll have somebody in our department that'll basically call a welcoming and then go through every single thing painstakingly with their contract so they understand the terms, the rates, everything. And then we make sure that they acknowledge the fact that they know what they're signing and what they did sign. If for some reason they're like, whoa, I didn't know that, they will completely cancel it right then and there. So it actually doesn't go and become a contract until after that call. So we make sure that nobody's going to be given misinformation. And so that's one of the things that, some people are like, well, you're going to get less sales, but I think it's less headaches and doing the right thing. So.
Yeah, take care of your clients, and your life will be a little easier. Yeah. And service is key to any success of any business. With that in mind, we didn't get into the first show because we got going there, but you've got some great reviews. I'm going to put these up on the wall over here. But 102 reviews, a 4.8, and gosh, all these happy customers. I'd like to say a bit about renewable energy. They are a good solar company. They have a program that low-income families that cannot. Tell me, I mean, this is essentially somebody becoming an advocate here to buy solar. The team members have a very good experience and are good people too.
Yeah, and a lot of folks,
does that make you feel good?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And a lot of these folks don't even know about the program, right? So it's one of those deals to where, we do market and so forth and put that out, but we also reach out to folks that are in those areas. And it's great because usually you're always met with, what? That can't be real. And so I think we have the hardest time just trying to convince people this is a real thing. So of course we direct them to Illinois State, and they can read up on it. And the program out there that even with the roof, the fact that they can get into something, they wish they always could. Every home wants to save money, right? But having the ability to qualify for those loans, it's just, you're not talking about a $5,000 loan here. Depending on the size of the system, there's that system's 50,000 or above, and that's just a large expense for somebody to qualify for. So the great thing is that this allows those folks that never could get access to it to get access to it. So it's a great thing the state's doing. We're glad to be a part of it. We try to think of different ways to try to help out too we can, and that's what kind of makes it a good partnership. And I think that's what fits well for us and our kind of our mission statement.
Yeah, part of what the Cardinal Cowboy stands for, I've got the hat on here. We usually put that on. So we'll go ahead and put it on right now. But literally, when you're going out of your way to help these people in the community, otherwise cannot afford this, and being selected by the state, Illinois, to be a partner, there's a lot of companies out there that would like to offer this program, but very few get selected. And the stipulations, the regulations, the rules, the standards are very high.
It is.
But you've qualified for that.
Yeah, and again, you got to watch your P's and Q's. So the great thing is, there's accountability. Solar sometimes I'm a pretty realistic person when it comes to just a lot of things, even with the industry we're in. It's kind of like the wild, wild west. It's newer. A lot of folks are doing it. They're selling the dream, but it doesn't always fulfill that, right? So you've got some great companies out there, and you've got some that are no longer around for a reason. So we're trying to pride ourselves on being one of those that are going to be around forever. And like I said, we're not just in solar. We're going to be getting into a lot of other renewables, because I think there's just really neat, exciting stuff coming up. And every year it seems like the new technologies or the technologies we have are improving. That it's going to be exciting in the next probably 5 to 10 years. It's going to be a different life.
Yeah, if you can really harness the power, what percentage of the solar out there that we could be getting, and you see these panels going up all over the place, but the sun is coming at you all the time. We're going to run out of oil. We're going to run out of those coal, but the sun just keeps coming, and we need it better. The technology keeps getting better.
Yeah, 100%, right? So, the sun's not going anywhere for a while, so we're good on that. So it's a renewable, and anybody can get access to that, right? It's just being able to harness it. Not everybody get access to oil, right? So only the few of the lucky ones, and then we just buy from them. But it gives you the ability to kind of be self-sufficient. And if you're in certain areas, of course, that don't have the ability to tie into the grid, you can create your own energy that way too. So there's a lot of neat things with it, but yeah, I think it's one of those deals where you just see with technology, seeing with AI right now, and it's kind of a neat time seeing all these things that are coming about, and I'm really amazed to see what we're going to be in about 5 years, 10 years. We'll probably be up in an airplane, going to the outer atmosphere, like not paying that much, and just being able to travel. Even travel is going to get it's going to shorten flights, but to be able to be out there, and everybody's always wanted to have that thing that the astronauts do, and they get to see that blue marble. Can't see from quite that distance of the moon, but if you can go ahead and see it in the upper atmosphere, and just see and understand that we're on this little bitty ball, and we're nothing compared to what the rest of the universe is out there, right? But to be able to get up there and see that, that's neat. That I'll be able to see that in my lifetime. So, but we need to make sure that we do take care of things that we do have. Obviously, again, fossil fuels are a thing that still need to be. They coexist now, but eventually probably won't. And it's going to be a better tomorrow. I'm trying to make a better tomorrow for my kid.
Very important. Well, with that in mind, there's a lot of people you service. You do a lot of residential, but you'll also do commercial. And tell me about each of those a little bit.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Down there.
I kind of touched base on it just a little bit as far as, there is some part of that program that does the commercial. We do regular commercial, of course, and there's financing out there for that. But even with nonprofits, which is kind of very similar for the lower income, like nonprofits, again, they have a disadvantage. And so being able to go and give to those folks something very similar, or even public facilities, Like I said, we just got done doing Collinsville, a couple of their buildings. We're working with a few schools right now. And there's just so many different things that we can do on a commercial level that, of course, we can help the big client that's a big manufacturer to reduce their energy footprint. So over in Illinois, of course, they've got ESG plans, more or less, that in Illinois, like I said before, that they are saying that year 2050 they want to go completely green. And so they are making sure they're pushing those companies to do those things and create an ESG plan that more or less gets them to go slowly green. And so for them to do that, they have responsibilities. They make them accountable. And so sometimes we help them fill that need. But the great thing, too, is that helping out those nonprofits and people that are giving back to the community, we're finding those ways to give back to them. So it helps them get a little pat on the back for those guys. They do a lot that most people don't want to do. Everybody's in business to make money. Those guys are in business to help people. So,
very cool. Tell me that. With that in mind, I can imagine as long as you've been doing this, as long as you guys have been in business, give me an example of a particular instance where somebody was struggling, had a tough situation, but you guys came through and helped them, or maybe where they'd been left out on a limb by another company, without naming the other company.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, let's just use the solar for one, right? I think that's probably out of all of it. And we've had situations to where we've, we're saved somebody from getting taken advantage of course, and signing something and able to stop that and basically put them in the right direction. And those are great too. But what's really great is when you see somebody's house that is barely hanging on its own. And it's usually somebody that's older, right? So
right.
Fortunately, doesn't have any family around, and so there's nobody there, so no son or daughter to kind of come and check on and maintain the house. So the house has just fallen apart over the years, and they're just too old to do anything, and they're on a fixed income. So being able to come in and say, hey, you know what, since you're on a fixed income, we're going to be able to get this for you and help alleviate that bill, but now we're going to be able to do a little bit of maintenance on that house. So like anything else, some of the most important things on your house is a roof and foundation, things like that. But if you don't have a good roof, you're going to have leaks and you're going to have issues. And of course, what happens with leaks?
On an older roof, you're going to cause problems.
That's true. But also dealing with an older person or anybody of any age. But your whole key is the reason why you have a roof and gutters and all that is you're trying to get water away from the house. So water starts to get in, next comes mold, and mold is deadly. And especially if you're older,
right.
You can create respiratory problems or even worse. So being able to go in there and that folks have not the ability to do that, and like I said, the roof is so old, the insurance doesn't really cover anything. So they're pretty much there's no other option for them. So even if a storm does come through and there's a storm damage, they don't have the policy to cover it. So the great thing is being able to go in there and saying, hey, you know what? Not only are we going to take care of that energy bill for you through Solar for All, like they're there to help. We've got a grant that's going to go ahead and take you and bring your house back to where at least it's secure and safe. And so doing that, and it's crazy. When those houses, when you peel off that shingle, most houses, when you change a roof, you might change one or two boards out. A lot of these, changing them all out. You don't even know how you're walking on the thing. And so there's a lot of ongoing issues on that roof for years. So being able to go in and help somebody out and not affect their checkbook is fantastic. So that's always been probably the most fulfilling. It's just helping the everyday folk.
Very cool. What is a big challenge you've overcome with regard to your business and the hurdles and the way that the government changes the stipulations and the different offerings that they have out there? Tell me how it is that you guys have maintained the credibility and survived a competitive business world.
I think part of it's to do with because since we're always looking to be innovative, right? Because we're in it for a little different reasons, right? I mean, of course, everybody wants to sustain their business and make money and support their families, but at the same time, people are always trying to focus on that, and we're trying to focus on 2 steps ahead. So we're looking to see what the way the trends are going. Of course, we're looking ways to be better and more efficient, and getting into different programs and just kind of exploring that and looking at different things. And I think that's what's kind of helped us out a little bit compared to some of the other folks. Because the industry is changing. And with the current administration, the Illinois tax credit, or the income tax credit, the ITC, which is the 30%. That's on a residential level that's going away on December, and then a couple of years on the commercial end. So, those incentives make it more affordable. Will solar still be around? It will. Will be a lot less solar companies, absolutely, which is maybe a good thing, I guess. But I think that's the biggest thing, is that we try to make sure that we look at the full picture. We want to try to do things that can help, and we're looking at other programs and just always constantly modifying and tweaking. We don't stand still, and a lot of folks are like, "Well, just go knock on 1 million doors and try to sell it." Like they're just using it as a money cash machine, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a future and build a community and feel good doing it. So that's the big thing.
There we go. Lots of fun stuff being done in our community. With that, we're going to share with you, over the weekend, we had another community event, and we've got invited by Tom Shaw for the Tom Shaw Alzheimer's Walk for memory of his dad. And we were out at the event over here in Defiance, Missouri. Great event, great turnout. Lots of leaders in the community showed up there. Check out what we were doing there for this particular event. A lot of fun.
I had one partner. I already gave it up. I'm sure he did. I don't remember.
Yes, no. Okay, very good. No, can't read my writing here. Oh, this is Tom Shaw's writing. No wonder. And then also State Representative Mark Mattison, Judge Chris McDonough, 97.1 Mark Cox, broadcaster, State Representative Colin Wellenkamp, who happened to have been in the, where's Kellen? Are you around? He was in the shop. Anyway, he was part of the honor guard this morning. State Representative, I should say Judge Pete Lassiter, and State Representative Wendy Hossman.
You got hey Gary.
Larry Connors is here too. I'm
You
sorry.
got Sheriff Lewis.
Sheriff Lewis was supposed to be doing he had supposed to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but somebody took over for him, which is all right. But Papa Bear didn't say anything, so that was all right. So that worked out well. Hey Nick, where are you? No show.
See him back there?
Come on up front real quick. Yeah, because I've got everything done here that I needed to do. I believe, right? Am I missing something? Okay, we do have somebody left a ring in the restroom. It's the women's restroom? Yes. Women's restroom, either way. So make sure you come up for that.
Oh, that's.
Give it to the register. Somebody and Mr. Brazel will take care of that. Okay? Come on in, Nick.
He's our filibuster.
Yeah, so Mark Cox. Where's Larry Connors? So I am filibustering today. I've got 3 hours on radio, so I'm going to be very brief today. Want to thank Tommy for all that he does. Yeah, applaud yourself, Tommy.
You're done.
I mean, you can look around here, the business owners that Tommy has helped, the judges, the elected officials. If you're an elected official, if you've ran, if you're a former elected official, raise your hand so we can give you guys applause. Pete, yeah, raise your hand, Pete. What are you looking at? But I know Tommy has helped all of you out, so thank you for coming back, giving back. I won't be walking today, as Tommy told me I had to dress like a cowboy. I see the only one that got the memo is Cardinal Cowboy. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. Like Joe said, this is the community. We stand out. I would throw this community up against Lincoln County, Pike County, St. Louis County, because we all come together to help things like ending Alzheimer's. We're going to do it. We're chipping away at it, and I'm confident that before Tommy leaves this earth, we're going to have a cure for this thing. So God bless you all.
It better be pretty quick, boys. Hey, Joe, we need those donations rolling in.
Yeah, Mark Cox, your donation, aren't you? Oh, thank you.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up! So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in a world of technology. But pick up this book. I wrote the foreword here. This is called Magnetized Media, #1 seller on Amazon. And you can learn about how I've used media. I share some of my trade secrets there. I wrote the introduction, essentially. So, Cardi, you wrote the first chapter. But the whole book is just outlined with all kinds of details about how to use media these days. And so, Kirk, you've had to adapt to that. You guys obviously have the website and the social media and doing lots of things in the community. How has technology, and you're kind of a technology company, changed the way the world's going? Is solar, and gosh, it's all tied together.
Yeah, I mean, we do have, we saw the need for it. Of course, we have somebody in-house that does ours. So we shoot our own videos. There's podcasts that we do and things along that nature because, getting that out there, that information out there, there's so many different avenues that you can use to kind of get your message across. It used to be where, you had to go just the old traditional route, either in the phone book or, you do a type of commercial or you're in the paper. You really kind of were pigeonholed. But now there's just so many different ways to kind of get that out there. So, yeah, that technology, like I said, and now you're seeing all the stuff that's going on with AI. It's crazy that what you can do with that. I mean, you can be your own one-man studio with AI nowadays. So
yeah, I do a voice command. Create a website with this and this and this, and boom. I create an analysis tool that shows people the ROI they can get. Do this factor times this with this many views, and this would change at this percentage profit. It creates a lot. I used to take hundreds of hours to create these tools, and now AI can do it in minutes.
It is wild. Like it's I think it's a great tool because, especially when you're having conversation and dialogue, you're actually having dialogue with AI. So there's ones out there that, when you're like, even if you ask Google something, you've got to be very precise in what you're saying. You can't have just a normal conversation and it pick up understanding what you're trying to say. Or some of these AIs, they're just like talking to a person. It's pretty crazy. So it does help, and they're resources of being able to get information quick during that conversation. Because a lot of times when you're building something, you're spitballing, you're brainstorming, you have that thought for a second, and you can ask a question like, hey, go get this research real fast, and it gets it right back to you. But your fluidity is still there. So it's pretty amazing. Like I said, technology it's like I said, I remember, granted I'm dating myself, but my dad was part of a computer club when they first came out with the Commodore 34, I believe.
Commodore 64, yeah.
It was before that.
Oh,
It was the 64, there was a 128. So was it the 64 then the 128? I can't remember. All I remember, it was like the most generic or like basic thing you can ever think of, and I thought it was neat back then. But I never was a computer guy. Never really did that. Never wasn't. My dad was, but now it's completely different. It's definitely amazing.
Yeah, well, that's the way the world is going, to keep up with the technology as best you can. Well, tell me the process. I can imagine you're obviously a leader in the community. Somebody, if they really, obviously, they're interested in solar, you're the guys to talk to.
Yeah.
What's the process? How does somebody get started? Go to the website? What? Somebody...
Yeah, they can go to the website. So there's a lot of tools there to read up even on the website, and different programs and different things that we can do for them. They can even fill out an application online. So the great thing is, and then of course somebody will contact them and kind of walk them through, and they'll do a proposal. So ideally, when it comes to Illinois Solar for All, of course, you don't have to be in certain counties. Every county has that household medium as far as income-wise, and there's a formula that they use. And so we can actually, if there's anybody in those areas, they can kind of call, and we'll walk them through to see if they do qualify. If they want to do traditional solar, and they need financing, we can do that too. If they want to go ahead and, pay cash, they can do that also. So we basically more or less just need their electric bill, and then we'll design the system under their home. Or if they've got land, they can do ground mounts. So ground mounts are a little bit more expensive, a little bit more tedious as far as installing. You're having to trench and everything else. But the great thing is you get optimum out of your solar panel because you're facing that direction with no obstructions. On a roof, you have pitches and so forth that you have to deal with. They're stationary, where you don't have that with a ground mount. So, we design a system that's going to best suit you. And the good thing about it is not every company or every person, is going to be a good candidate. If they've got a house facing the wrong direction and covered with trees and they don't want to cut them, which I don't blame some folks, they're not a good candidate. We're not going to sell them something that is it's not going to be beneficial to them. And then the nice thing is, I will say, some of the guys, as a story, I've got some family friends that they wanted to get a solar system. They moved into their home. They were pretty excited about doing so. I think they'd been there for maybe 1 month or 2 months.
Okay.
They'd gotten proposals from other folks, 2 other ones. They know that I do it, so of course they came to me and they're like, hey, we've already got 2, we want to get yours. And so I turned them over to one of my guys at the office, and he could have very easily did what everybody else did. Said, yeah, here's the size system you need. Problem is, you've been there for 2 months, not even that. And so you really don't see what the person's usage is going to be. Of course, you got change of seasons and so forth.
Right.
So really, you probably need about 6 months of living in a home to really kind of get a better gauge. Otherwise, you're just kind of doing a disservice because you get either undersize or oversize, right? Because you don't really have a good image or a picture of what your usage needs are. But those other 2 companies had no problem doing it. So that's kind of neat that, we don't tell people that, but they just kind of take it upon themselves. They're like, literally turn down the business and he gets a commission and says, you know what, this is not the time for you. Like, you need to wait. And so they've come back around, and of course they appreciated that. They were kind of shocked. They're like, nobody else said this. And I'm like, well, that's great. So that was really kudos to him. That was not even by my direction, because I didn't really get the ins and outs of it, because a lot of times when it comes in, somebody comes in for something, usually I'll give it to one of the guys.
Very cool, everybody. Kirk Apazeller, longtime friend, expert. If you need more information, join arc.io. Get more information.
Thank you.
Giddy up.